President Tinubu is in Riyadh ahead Saudi Africa Summit. Senate commences legislative work on Nigeria's midterm economic and financial framework preparatory to 2024 budget.
Women should not be discriminated against for getting married or bearing children.
Enlist more women in the military, First Lady advocates at Gender Mainstreaming Conference. Hello and welcome to the Network News. I'm Olajide Bello. Joining me from Lagos is Hingina John Adams. And remember, you can watch this broadcast live via our website nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on your screen. President Bola Tinubu is in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia to attend the Saudi Africa Summit, which is scheduled to take place on Friday, November 10, 2023. The president aboard the Nigerian 001 flight landed at the King Khalid International Airport, Riyadh, at about 10 a.m. local time. On arrival, he was received with an extended guard of honor and representatives of the Saudi government. Saudi is hosting African countries in a one-day Saudi Africa Summit, which is the first of its kind. In a statement, the presidential advisor on media and publicity, Ajiri Ngalale, states that at the Saudi Africa Summit, the president will underscore Nigeria's commitment to attracting more foreign direct investment and expanding business partnerships, which are strongly reinforced by his administration's ongoing domestic economic reforms. The special advisor added that discussions at the first Saudi Africa Summit will revolve around supporting joint action, enhancing political coordination, addressing regional security threats, facilitating economic transformation through research and local development of new energy solutions, all while bolstering cross-sectoral investment cooperation. The president is expected to return to Abuja following the conclusion of the Saudi Africa Summit. And back home to the Red Chamber, Senate has kick-started high-level interaction on Nigeria's economic and financial roadmap for the next 3 years, the first under the current administration. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports that the shared commitment is to ensure that Nigeria remains on the path of growth and prosperity.
Planning is strategic for effective economic and financial management. It is more significant to a country like Nigeria, with more than 200 million people, considering its high debt profile and low GDP. The interaction here with ministries, departments and agencies of government is not only to project revenue and expenditure, but to have them aligned with federal government's 8-point agenda in the best interest of Nigerians. President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, reads the Riot Act to heads of MDAs.
Any serious-minded appointee or any head of any agency that is interested in the success of President Tinubu's administration ought to be here. I'll be glad, Mr. Chairman, if you can give me the list of all the heads of agencies that you invited who have failed to show up in this session. We must continue to bring our financial legislations up to date for increased revenue generation.
The Senate Committees on Finance, Appropriation, National Planning and Economic Affairs, and that of local and foreign debt believe that value addition requires diligent application.
2022-2023 budget, there have been a lot of capital expenditures. Where are those withholding taxes? Where are those 1% stamp duties?
We have to still go borrowing if we are to meet 26 trillion expected to be spent this year. And we, on our part, we are going to work closely with the government to ensure that the set target of the Renew Hope agenda is achieved.
Ministers of State for Agriculture, Accountant General of the Federation, Chairman, Federal Inland Revenue Service, and Director General of the Nigerian Television Authority were among heads of MDAs present at the session. Meanwhile, officials from the Ministry of Defense met with the Senate Committee on Defense and spoke on efforts to further improve Nigeria's security against internal and external aggression.
The crop of leaders that we have now that are manning the military are working closely together in themselves and also with the ministry.
The meeting continued behind closed doors. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
And away from the legislature, the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, has said the 2023 supplementary budget signed into law by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is not insensitive but a bold and pragmatic response to the pressing and economic challenges Nigeria currently faces. The minister, in a statement by Special Assistant on Media, Rabiu Ibrahim, urged the 2023 presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, to take the time and effort to acquaint himself with details of the 2.17 trillion 2023 supplementary budget, which includes allocation for essential sectors of security, agriculture, food security, works and housing, wage increase for workers, students' loan scheme and social safety nets, among others, all aimed at strengthening the country's economic foundations and improve the living conditions of Nigerians. The statement advised the political opposition to be informed and balanced in the exercise of their rights and refrain from misrepresentation of facts for political gains, explaining that the supplementary budget was derived from the active engagement and consultation with relevant stakeholders who ensured that the budgetary provisions aligned with the needs and expectations of Nigerians. The minister emphasized that in line with President Tinubu's inclination to accountability and transparency in government, expenditure or items in the supplementary budget have been meticulously scrutinized to ensure efficient utilization of public funds. And to off-cycle election matters, in preparation for the upcoming November 11, 2023 governorship election in Kogi State, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has distributed both ballot and result sheets to all 21 local government areas. Professor Sani Adam, the National Commissioner overseeing Kogi, Kwara and Niger states, assured the public of ample materials for the smooth conduct of the election. Jacob Sani reports.
The containers housing the electoral materials, comprising both sensitive and non-sensitive items, have been dispatched to the designated local government areas. Professor Sani Adam emphasized the Commission's thorough preparations for the electoral process.
We have 9 resident electoral commissioners from other states that are supporting the operations in the conduct of the elections. So we have come to the central bank, and all members of the political parties, civil society and the media are here to inspect sensitive materials that will now be deployed to all the 21 local government areas of the state.
Gabriel Lompet, the State INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner, highlighted stringent measures in place to prevent any form of theft or mishandling. Jacob Sani, NTA News.
And on security, the Department of State Services wants individuals or groups that engages in illegitimate acts or inimical conducts to public order to desist or be decisively dealt with in accordance with the law. A statement by Director, Public Relations and Strategic Communications for the DSS, Dr. Peter Afunaya, notes that it has observed rising trends and patterns of incendiary comments by some personalities of influence and representatives of non-governmental entities within and outside the country. This, the DSS says, runs against public peace and harmony. And on military welfare, Abdul Samad Rabi Initiative Africa has commenced the construction of a 2 billion Naira 120 units for corporal and below quarters accommodation for the Nigerian Army in Abuja. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa was at the Muhammadu Buhari cantonment venue of the groundbreaking ceremony.
This symbolic ceremony signals the commencement of construction of accommodation for army personnel by Abdul Samad Rabiu Africa Initiative, ASR Africa, a program of the chairman Boa Group. The project, 120 family units for corporal and below quarters for the Nigerian Army, located at Muhammadu Buhari Cantonment Giri in Abuja, is part of 10 billion naira security support fund donated by ASR Africa in 2022.
He has committed 100 million.
The managing director, ASR Africa, noted that the donation is to support security agencies to enhance a safe and secured environment for socio-economic development.
As part of our social development initiatives, we have what we call the security sector support grants. This grant, last year, Alhaji Abdul Samad Rabiu committed 10 billion naira to support the armed forces and security agencies in Nigeria. Of this 10 billion naira, he allocated 2 billion naira to the Nigerian Army. Other security agencies and the police were also beneficiaries of this grant, and they are all implementing different projects that are going to support their ability to provide safety and security for the Nigerian people.
The Chief of Army Staff commended the initiative by the Boa Group, noting that the support will further boost troops' morale.
I want to start by appreciating the chairman, chief executive of the Boa Group, Alhaji Abdul Samad Rabiu, for looking in the direction of the Nigerian Army, providing the funding for the 4-block, 30 family units, corporal below quarters, that we have done the foundation laying ceremony this morning.
ASR Africa is a brainchild of African industrialist, philanthropist, and chairman of Boa Group, Abdul Samad Rabiu, established in 2021 to provide sustainable, impact-based homegrown solutions to developmental issues affecting health, education, and social development within Africa. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
And on welfare for internally displaced persons, the present administration says it is committed towards enhancing food sufficiency and security in the country by ensuring that all internally displaced persons across the country are relocated back to their ancestral homes and boost agricultural sector. Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Dr. Betta Edu, disclosed these are the flag of construction of resettlement homes for internally displaced persons in Benue State. Tena Omar reports that the minister also visited the IDP camp in Makedi and distributed food items to the displaced persons.
The construction of the resettlement homes for IDPs is an initiative of the federal government under the Renewed Hope Shelter programs for refugees, the poor, and internally displaced persons. The arrival of the Minister for Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Dr. Betta Edu, for the flag off ceremony was greeted with joy by the IDPs. The minister said the flag off ceremony is the beginning of the journey for the IDPs to return to their ancestral homes.
If you're somewhere else, you're a stranger. Home is home. We'll occupy our place, we'll farm, we'll provide the food for this country, and we'll secure this country in terms of food and all it needs.
As we are making this very giant step to returning them back home here, so much on security groundwork is already in place.
At the Ishwa IDP Camp Makodi, where food items were donated to the IDPs, the minister expressed concern over the alarming number of internally displaced persons and appealed to all international donor agencies to tackle the humanitarian challenges. The federal government is to commence the construction of hundreds of housing units for the IDPs in Benue State, with the first set of 20 housing units to be built within 6 months. In Makodi, Tena Uma, NTA News.
You're watching the Network News. More reports when we return. Thanks for being there. Now let's head straight to the Green Chambers. The House of Representatives Committee on Finance has summoned all heads of ministries, departments and agencies of government to appear in person before the committee for clarification on their budget performance between 2022 and 2023 on Monday next week. Committee Chairman James Abiodun Faleke expresses concern on the attitude of some agencies that send in representatives. National Assembly correspondent Isa Muhammad reports.
This is a very important bill that
lawmakers agree that the Central Bank Act of 2004 is overdue for amendment of critical sections. It includes separating the role of chairman of the board from that of the governor and reinforcing the oversight role of the National Assembly in approving the budget of the Apex Bank.
Even on the Naira note redesign, till today nobody knows what was expended on it. If there's a budget to guide this, then the institution of the National Assembly in charge of banking institutions and regulations will have a document to cross-check and do proper oversight.
There was a series of impunity by CBN because they were empowered by the provisions of the Act.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it.
A bill to establish the Federal University of Agriculture, Utokbu, Delta State also scaled second reading, while motions to investigate the privatization of the Osogbo steel rolling mills and collapse of rural electrification scheme in parts of Bauchi State were adopted.
To ensure the replacement of damaged poles and connection to the grid of the following communities: Zubu, Bailey, Gagidiba, Dongu.
Meanwhile, the House has considered and unveiled legislative agenda for the 10th Assembly.
Strengthening good governance, that's number one. Number two is improving national security. Three is law reform. Number four, economic growth, social sector reform and development, inclusive and open parliament.
At its inaugural sitting, the House Committee on Information, National Orientation, Ethics and Values promises robust oversight of all parastatals under its purview.
Most especially the National Orientation Agency, to ensure that they disseminate the right information.
From the National Assembly, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
Well, sorry about that mix-up. That report was actually by Mitaire Ikben, one of our National Assembly correspondents. Moving on, the Nigerian Armed Forces can enlist more women, thereby drawing more strength in the fight against insecurity by revisiting and revising its laws, making it more equitable and attractive for women to join. Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu said this at a conference on gender mainstreaming convened by the Defense Headquarters in Abuja. State House correspondent Adenita reports that the First Lady was represented by wife of the Vice President, Nana Kashim Shettima.
As an institution, the Nigerian Armed Forces has a reputation for promoting gender inclusion in military operations, posting a 27.9% of women participation in peacekeeping mission, surpassing the United Nations benchmark. This conference on gender mainstreaming, organized by the Defense Headquarters, suggests that more can be achieved, particularly for the purpose of meeting security challenges in the country. Represented by wife of the Vice President, Nana Kashim Shettima, Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu cannot agree more, as she applauded the Nigerian Armed Forces for taking the initiative to further deepen gender mainstreaming and inclusiveness in its rank. The theme of the conference, she says, is a fundamental shift, recognizing that not only military strength, but protection of human rights alongside other non-military initiatives are required to keep the country safe.
Women should not be discriminated against for getting married or bearing children. We can work towards eliminating gender-based violence within security forces and ensuring proper mechanism for reporting and addressing such incidents.
For the Minister of Defense, Mohammed Badaru Abubakar, the current administration is not only ready for initiatives that can tackle insecurity in the country, but also committed to bridging gender gaps.
The effort by the Armed Forces of Nigeria are in line with the United Nations Security Council Resolution 1325, which recognizes the important role of women in prevention, and resolution of conflict. The asymmetric nature of current security challenges bedeviling us as a nation brings to bear the need for the military and other security agencies to adopt a more realistic gender mainstreaming strategy to defend and protect women and children who are the most vulnerable group of persons and victims of the consequences of security challenges.
The conference drew applause from United Nations agencies as well as the British High Commission in Nigeria. They are on the same page on the need for more implementation and sustainability through institutionalization of gender mainstreaming policies. High point of the ceremony is the launch of the Armed Forces Gender Magazine by the First Lady. From the National Defense College, Abuja, Adeni Itaiwo, NTA News.
Government Secondary School Roseau has emerged the overall winner of Total Energies NNPC Limited and Partner Safe Mobility for Young People poster competition in Nigeria. Acting General Manager Corporate Social Responsibility Total Energies, Tonyo Sifo reiterates that the Safe Mobility for Young People poster competition is part of Total Energies' resolve towards deepening education and creating awareness globally in the dangers young people are exposed to in the quest for knowledge. Lydia Sampson reports that the overall winner got a 1 million naira check. The second position got 500 and the third place got 200,000 naira respectively.
This is the winning poster. The 2023 champions, led by the spokesperson Adekunle Peace Adeola, reeled out their message.
We can see an adult holding the hands of the younger ones in order for them to get to school safely. Do not walk on a highway, use the pedestrian path. Do not run across a highway, make use of the pedestrian bridge.
Out of 100 schools selected by Total Energies NNPC Limited and partners in Abuja, Lagos and Port Harcourt, Government Secondary School Roseau came first. Expressway High School Lagos came second and Government Secondary School Gwarimpa came third. Safe mobility is a critical issue for young people who are often at higher risks of accidents and injuries on the road. To ensure safe mobility for all young people in Nigeria and across the world, Total Energies, NNPC Limited and partners are raising awareness to promote best practices.
Our first school for Nigeria is going on to the international competition where you'll be paired amongst children from other countries in Africa. And fingers crossed, we'll come out first there. That will be the regional competition. And then from then, that will be on the 16th of November. And then from then, when you come first, by the grace of God, fingers crossed, you will then go on to the global competition to compete with other students from across the world.
As safety mobility ambassadors, armed with their slogan, "Walk safely, arrive safely," she and all speakers at the event urged the winners and all participants to translate knowledge acquired to their communities and schools. Now, GSS Roseau is set to compete with other countries outside Nigeria. Various speakers are optimistic that by working together, policymakers, advocates and journalists can help ensure safe mobility for all young people, reducing the risks of accidents and injuries on the roads. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
Nigeria and Saudi Arabia have signed a memorandum of understanding to elevate production standards and technological advancements within Nigeria's energy sector. Nigeria's Minister of Petroleum Resources, Oil, Senator Heineken Lokobiri, and the Saudi Arabian Energy Minister, Prince Abdulaziz bin Salman, signed respectively for their countries. A statement by Special Assistant Media and Communication to the Minister, Naka Okafor, says the MOU is a testament to the shared commitment towards fostering cooperation aimed at establishing a robust framework for collaboration between the two nations in the oil and gas sector. Prince Abdulaziz bin Salman expressed optimism about the far-reaching impact the strategic alliance would have on both countries' energy landscapes. The key purpose of the MOU is to promote collaboration, information exchange and technology transfer, thereby creating a conducive environment for a mutually beneficial partnership. One of the primary benefits anticipated from the landmark agreement is the facilitation of technological exchange, with Saudi Arabia boasting advanced technologies in oil and gas exploration and production. Minister of State Petroleum Resources, Nigeria Oil, says Nigeria stands to gain significantly from this knowledge transfer, which will elevate efficiency and effectiveness of Nigeria's energy operations, ultimately contributing to increased production levels and global competitiveness. The MOU is also expected to attract substantial foreign direct investment into Nigeria's oil and gas sector. And to the security matters following the alleged suicide by the woman in the viral "Mommy Calm Down" video to Oluigi Babalola on Wednesday, November 8, 2023, the police in Edo State have confirmed the incident. Jude Abugu reports.
Confirming the incident, Edo State Police Public Relations Officer SP Chidi Nwabozo says the husband to the deceased had on Wednesday, November 8, reported the incident at Iwotubo Police Division and that the body has been deposited at a morgue.
The incident happened in their residence, and thereafter the man took the corpse of the wife to the hospital and finally where they deposited it at the mortuary. At that point, he reported himself to the police.
He said the Edo State Police Commissioner, Mohammed Dankwara, has directed the Homicide Division in the command to take over the matter so as to unravel the mystery behind the incident.
One would have thought that in that circumstance, in that situation, the husband would have made contact to the police first and not taking those process by himself.
Efforts to speak with neighbors of the deceased at her residence in Garrick Layout, Benin, where she was said to have committed suicide, were unsuccessful. The late Oluigi Olukobi Babalola became popular when a video she made in 2020 while trying to discipline her then 4-year-old son went viral.
No, I'm not telling you to be calming down. Don't calm me down. Don't calm me down.
In Benin, Jude Abugu, NTA News.
Time now to join Ingino in Lagos for stories making the rounds from that zone. Ingino.
The comprehensive rehabilitation of the third mainland bridge has been flagged off by the Minister of Works, David Umahi, and Deputy Governor of Lagos State, Dr. Bafemi Hamzat. This marks the official commencement of repair works on the 11.8-kilometer bridge.
Repair works on the third mainland bridge, the minister said, will be based on mutual understanding between federal and Lagos state government. To minimize discomfort for the road users, the minister explained that contractors will also work at night to ensure that work is completed within the shortest possible time.
Over 260 roads nationwide, 36 at FCT, that is costing about 217 billion. And by this supplementary appropriation, 50% is to be released. And so I would like the governor of Lagos State to also flag off, that rehabilitation because work is starting in earnest by Monday.
This is another project being flagged off by the minister in conjunction with the deputy governor of Lagos State, which is called the Coastal Road, that will start from here all the way to Port Harcourt en route Calabar. And the deputy governor says they have created a right-of-way for this road, and any construction on the road will be removed.
Now this project is about to start. Please understand the right of way. Don't go and build on the right of way, please.
Called the EPCR, which connotes engineering, procurement, construction and financing. The Lagos-Calabar Road construction is a public-private partnership. The minister revealed that apart from a concrete road, the project will include rail, social amenities, among others. In Lagos, Larry Bilayi, NTA News.
The Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation, NDIC, says payment of statutory insured sum are still ongoing as the corporation has paid a cumulative insured sum of 1.393 billion naira to 36,163 depositors of 110 closed microfinance banks and 3 primary mortgage banks across the country as at September 2023. Amaka O reports that this was stated by the Chief Executive Officer of the corporation during the NDIC Day at the ongoing Lagos International Trade Fair.
Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation, NDIC, is saddled with the mandate of protecting the interests of small depositors by providing a mechanism for reimbursement in the event of imminent or actual bank failures. The NDIC is currently at the ongoing 37th Lagos International Trade Fair to sensitize stakeholders, address complaints, and boost depositors' confidence.
We have paid up to 1,300,000 naira to depositors, and the process is ongoing. We are here with our claim forms to avail depositors whose money were trapped in these banks to come forward to file in their claims. The deposit insurer, NDIC, is here to pay them. We also use the platform to invite depositors of 20 banks whose licenses were revoked by the Central Bank of Nigeria over 15 years ago. We have listed the banks out. We are here with our claim resolution department in order to avail depositors of this bank free access to their funds.
But Nigeria has been a bit careful through regulations, through supervision, but that we must try to intensify so as not to put the funds of shareholders and depositors at risk.
Winners emerged from the raffle draw at the trade fair, established under NDIC Decree 2022 of 1988 and recently amended by NDIC Act number 33 of 2023. The corporation entrenches safe and sound banking practices in Nigeria. In Lagos, Amaka O, NTA News.
Those are the reports from Lagos. Network News will continue after this break.
Many thanks for being there. Development finance institutes in Africa and Asia are mobilizing the necessary financing capacity to tackle climate change through sustained action in building a smart future. Musa Bakar reports that this is the position of finance executives at a joint international CEO forum in Abuja.
It's a joint chief executive officers forum of the Association of African Development Finance Institutes and Association of Development Financing Institutes in Asia and the Pacific 2023. Worried about the impact of climate change on livelihoods and wealth creation, this forum seeks to evolve solutions through mobilization of private finance, investment in climate resilience, support climate-smart initiative, and strengthen partnerships.
As Nigeria's leading DFI, one of the primary drivers of the Bank of Industry strategy is to accelerate Nigeria's development through supporting environmentally friendly, sustainable projects across key sectors of the economy.
The moves becomes necessary with the least developed nations in Africa, Asia Pacific, set to face the most effects of climate change, as estimated losses is projected to increase from 5 to 15% of GDP by 2050, and climate adaptation cost of $10 to $30 billion.
ADFI has strategically positioned its commitment to achieving the Paris Agreement by setting up a working group on climate change to deepen its involvement in advancing it.
These efforts, we know, not only help to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, but also to promote long-term economic growth, social development, and environmental sustainability.
We must ensure that the food and agricultural systems are climate resilient
through public and private investment.
Opportunities, especially in Africa, for DFIs to access global climate finance as accredited entities.
The forum is expected to strengthen South-South cooperation and explore global partnerships to a next plan of action that development finance institutes in Asia and Africa can adopt to build a climate-smart future. In Abuja, I'm Musa Abubakar, NTA News.
Over now to Benny Adams for the business segment of the news. Benny.
The Nigerian Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, NTA, says the federal government revenue-generating agencies remitted a total of about 14.38 trillion naira as revenue from the extractive sector to the Federation account between January 1st, 2020 and December 31st, 2021. The revenue-generating agencies include the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, the Nigerian Upstream Regulatory Commission, the Federal Inland Revenue Service, the Ministry of Mines and Steel Development, and the Nigerian Customs Service. This is contained in the NTA 2020 to 2021 Fiscal Allocation and Statutory Report unveiled today in Abuja. A breakdown of the remittances showed that mineral revenue accounted for 6.40 trillion naira, about 44.5% of the total remittances for the period, while other non-mineral revenue, excluding VAT, contributed 4.80 trillion, about remittances.
Is getting what? Are they applying them to where they should? Our report x-rayed all this.
We are concerned with setting the rules of engagement within our sector, midstream and downstream space, to spur investment, create value, and provide decent livelihood through the energy sector across the entire federating units of our dear nation.
What we do in civil society needs information and data. If you don't have information, advocacy will be difficult, engagement will be difficult. But I think NTA has made the work simpler for us by giving us this document today.
Now, Nigerian equities market stayed on a bullish course as the all-share index appreciated by 0.07% to hit 70,819.49 basis points, with investors recording 27.2 billion naira gain. A total of 569.1 million shares in 6,169 deals, corresponding to a market value of 16.7 billion naira, were traded. Today's data shows 2% improvement in volume, 71% improvement in turnover, but 4% decline in deals. The current market capitalization is 38.9 trillion naira. Jopol Gold and Ventures recorded the highest volume of traded shares, followed by Stanbic IBTC Holdings and United Bank for Africa. That is business news, but more news after this break.
Glad to know you're still there. The federal government has procured 6,750,000 tons of wheat seedlings for the 2023-2024 dry season farming, as directed by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Musa Ali reports that the government is also introducing a new program known as National Agriculture Growth Scheme.
These are agriculture extension experts across Africa in Abuja deliberating on issues relating to food production and security on the continent. It is the 6th edition of the meeting.
What can we do to identify things that farmers are already doing, amplify them, get the lessons, and improve the agricultural system in Africa?
It's a transformed agriculture that ensures food security and makes Nigeria a leading player in global food market, provided by a dynamic, responsive, knowledge-based, and ICT-driven.
Minister of State for Agriculture and Food Security, who represented President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, explained steps being taken by the administration to improve national food security.
In achieving this, the government has come up with a program such as the National Agricultural Growth Scheme, Agro Pocket, where it is planned to increase our production, the output of our production, by supporting farmers,
with improved seeds, fertilizers, both organic and inorganic.
In the meantime, the Ministry of Agriculture has taken delivery of more than 6,000 tons of hybrid wheat seeds. The imported seeds arrived at the Nigerian port in Lagos. Musa Aliyu, NTA News.
Now let's join our sport desk for sports update.
Federal government will support ongoing preparations to host the first ever Olympics qualifying tournament in Nigeria for canoe events at the 2024 Paris Olympic Games after 20 countries confirmed participation at the competition in Jabi Lake, Abuja from November 19 to 26. Nigeria Rowing, Canoe and Sailing Federation Chief Admiral Festus Pobeni disclosed this to NTA after a one-on-one session with Minister of Sports Development John Eno in Abuja, highlighting plans to make podium finishes at the Games.
He has given us all assurance going to help us as much as possible. My federation will go to the rostrum. What color the medal is what I don't know.
In another development, the improvement in officiating and facilities at match venues will help Nigeria Premier Football League attract more followership as it launches its increased live coverage of matches on the NTA StarTimes platform. The league chairman, Benga Elegbeleye, says the increase in away victories recorded in the league will not deter heavy sanctions against clubs who violate standards guiding the operation of the league.
Anywhere where they beat referee, we remove 3 points from that team. So the referee must be safe to officiate. The atmosphere must be secured for them to give the best.
Elsewhere, Nigeria Football Federation has charged the Falconets to go all out for victory and qualify for the 2024 FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup in Colombia when they take on Tanzania on Sunday. NFF President Ibrahim Goso gave the charge to the players when he visited them in camp ahead of their departure on Friday to Dar es Salaam via Addis Ababa for the third round first leg qualifiers for Africa. With sports update, Badi Adeleye, NTA News.
And on a rather sad note, the Ethiopian chairman, Niger State Council of Traditional Rulers, Yahya Abubakar, has described the death of Jones Ajayi, a reporter with the Nigerian Television Authority NTA Bida station, as devastating. Ajayi died in the early hours of Thursday after a brief illness in Minna. In a condolence message, the ATUNP said that the death of the veteran journalist is a great loss not only to his family or the NTA but also the entire Nepe Kingdom and Niger State. Abubakar described the deceased as a very humble, dedicated and diligent person. This death is a great loss that has robbed us of a consummate newsman whose patriotism and love for a better Nigeria was not in doubt. While commiserating with the Nigerian Television Authority, the Nigerian Union of Journalists and UJ Niger chapter, the royal father prayed to God to grant the family of the deceased the fortitude to bear the loss. And up next is the weather forecast.
Hello and welcome. We expect patches of clouds with sunshine intervals across the south and the central part of the country. However, there are good prospects for isolated cases of thunderstorms in the afternoon into evening hours to the coastal parts of Cross River, Akwa Ibom and Rivers State. There are very good prospects of thunderstorms also over parts of Delta, Edo, some parts of Anambra, Abia, Imo, Enugu, extending to parts of Ekiti, Osun, some parts of Ondo, Kogi, Benue, and also parts of Taraba State. While the northern region should expect a clear sky with sunny and hazy atmosphere. Thank you for watching. I remain Joyce Ogunleye, and I will see you again.
And that concludes the network news. Thanks for being a part of it. I am Olajide Bello.